What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I'm bringing you a truly awful but awesome deck centered around Rotom from Fates Collide and Wishiwashi from the new Sun and Moon set. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder to you guys that if you liked the video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, and hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out a lot and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And as for the question of the day, Wishiwashi is a Pokemon that really has an awesome concept surrounding it. You take this little, small, weak thing that can't do much on its own, but then you just put a bunch of them together and it just becomes a super powerful juggernaut type thing. So really, really cool overall idea. I think Game Freak did a pretty good job in game. I would have liked if they gave it some more speed, but that it does kind of make sense why the Wishiwashi in game would have such slow speed, because you have so many of the little Wishiwashi together that they can't move very fast, otherwise they would break up. But then when it translated into the TCG, we got this from the new Sun and Moon set. And I think I can speak for almost everyone when I say I was ridiculously disappointed in this new Wishiwashi. I was like, wait, where is the big schooling form? Where's the big Wishiwashi that made this little guy even halfway usable? I mean, this guy, 30 HP, cowardice. I mean, it has all the makings of the little Wishiwashi, so it makes sense. But there's no like reference to the big Wishiwashi. Well, I had hope when I saw Wishiwashi GX announced for the new set and also the new Wishiwashi. And I have to say, again, I was ridiculously disappointed. The new Wishiwashi is basically Wailord in that it's very bulky, but just has an unreasonable attack to really ever use. I mean, 5 energy for 120 and discard an energy off of your opponent's Pokemon. Primarina does the same thing for 4. I mean, and then it's GX attack, 220, and then you have to move all energy off of it. I mean, it's just so unusable to have one attack that's 1 for 20, one that's 5 for 120, and then 5 for 220, and you have to remove all the energy from it. I mean, that's just... I was so disappointed in that Wishiwashi GX, and even the little Wishiwashi was, okay, you can play this down, and then you can switch it with a Wishiwashi GX that's in your hand, put all cards and stuff onto it. So, I mean, it's decent. Actually, it's not even decent searching. If it could search from the deck and do that, then it would be a pretty decent searching tool. But the fact that you have to have the Wishiwashi GX in your hand to do it, I mean, you would rather just play the Wishiwashi GX down and not have to worry about the baby Wishiwashi. But either way, all I'm seeing is a card, or a Pokemon that had so much potential, and Game Freak was just like, yeah, we know that his has potential, but nah, we're just not going to worry about that. And so my question of the day is, what, in your experience with Pokemon, have they taken a concept that had so much potential and just kind of screwed it? And just kind of been like, yeah, you know, and just, well, you know what? When have they taken an idea that has great potential and just crapped all over it? That's what I was trying to go for, but not use a explicit in the explanation of that. But if you had to ask me, I'm actually going to go with a very, very recent one, and I would say that Kommo-o was an idea that had a lot of potential, but I mean, it just got crapped all over. Because Fighting Dragon, ridiculously powerful. I mean, that type combination is amazing, with Fairy being the only thing that can stand in the way of its dual stab. And you know what? You can run like Poison Jab, Iron Tail, Flash Cannon, all of those to get around it. So they took Kommo-o and somehow made it mediocre. I mean, Kommo-o is decent, but it just doesn't have a good physical move pool. Its special move pool is fantastic, but its stats just don't back it up. And its signature move is special despite it being physically based. So they managed to take a Fighting Dragon and make it mediocre. So I gotta applaud you, Game Freak. You did it. You took a great idea and you made it bad. So let me know what other instances you guys can think of where Game Freak took an amazing potential idea and just made it awful. But anyway, it's almost been 5 minutes, so on to the deck. Like I said, centered around Rotom and Wishiwashi, and really, this deck is like playing basketball with a football. For those of you that aren't in the United States, playing basketball with an American football, so that little oblong thing. Or I guess a rugby ball potentially. But either way, trying to play basketball with an oblong ball, because 99% of the time, you look uncoordinated, you feel stupid, but that 1% of the time that you can get it working, you just feel like the greatest person on earth, and you feel so cool when you do get it to work. And that is exactly what this deck is, and I wish I could take credit for coming up with this, but I did not. I got the list from, I think it was a PokeBeach article, but either way, I have it linked in the description. I probably could check, but I'm way too lazy to see what website it was actually from. But either way, it's in the description if you guys want to see where I got the original idea from. And it's centered around these two guys. Rotom with Plasmagic Attack. Move 2 damage counters from each of your Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. And then combine that with Wishiwashi's Cowardice, being able to put this Pokemon back into your hand as long as it wasn't on the turn that you played it. And then combine it with Magma's Secret Base to repeatedly play down Wishiwashi, get 2 damage counters on it, and then have Rotom just constantly moving damage onto your opponent's Pokemon. So really, this deck caps out at 120 damage per turn. With Bursting Balloon, it can hit for a magic 180, but normally you're going to be hitting for like 100 as opposed to 120. So it's a very, very situational deck, but it is really kind of cool when you can get it running. And because you constantly want to be able to fill up your bench with Pokemon, like play Pokemon down onto all 5 bench spots each turn, we are not running any like Octilleries, Shaymins, anything like that. It's all Pokemon that we can play down and then remove so that we have that bench spot open again. So yeah, that's basically what the entire strategy is around. You have 4 Rotom because these are the 4 attackers, 4 Wishiwashi because these are the main ways that you're getting damage counters onto your Pokemon with Magma's Secret Base. And then as for the others, running 3 Unown for kind of pseudo draw support. I mean, it's 1 card, but there are enough outs in this deck to where you should be able to get a draw support when you need it. Don't get me wrong, this deck does run into some very, very, very dead hands without ways to necessarily draw out of it. Unown does help that a little bit. And then the other card we are running is Klefki for Wonderlock. You can play that down and then get rid of it, put it onto the Rotom, and actually be able to stall for some time against Mega Decks. It's actually pretty cool when you can get it working, but otherwise you're normally just hitting for like 80 to 100 damage. Your opponents are one-shotting your Rotoms, and if you can't recycle them in a timely manner, you just kind of sort of lose. So yeah, there's that, but again, main strategy, have Rotom active, pick up all 4 Wishiwashi that were on the bench, play all 4 back down with a Magma Secret Base, and then move damage counters onto your opponent's active Pokemon while healing up your Pokemon in the process. So it's a really, really, really cool idea when you can get it working, and the rest of the deck is just geared towards getting it working as quickly as possible. Running 1 Acro Bike. Really, there's only 1 Acro Bike because I couldn't find room to put another one in there, but Acro Bike still does help with consistency a little bit, so I threw 1 in there. 2, Buddy-Buddy Rescue, basically to get back Rotom and Unown. These are the 2 ones that you're going to be recycling with Buddy-Buddy Rescue. Unown because it discards itself, and then you can get it back, put 2 damage counters on it, and then have a potential draw a card next turn. And then Rotom just because Rotom gets knocked out and you want to have your attacker back. 1 Eco Arm to recycle our Bursting Balloons because those things are so crucial to getting damage onto our opponent's board, because 80 to 100 damage simply is not enough per turn. So Bursting Balloon is absolutely crucial in helping rack up damage, but also deter our opponent from potentially attacking if they can't one-shot a Rotom. 2 Escape Ropes, because if you start with an Unown or Klefki, you would otherwise have to attach a DCE to get those things out of the active spot. One cool thing about Wishiwashi is that you can go ahead and you can activate Cowardice from the active spot. So if Wishiwashi's active, you can pick it up, and which is something you can't do with Unown and Klefki, because both of these guys have to be on the bench for you to activate their ability. Wishiwashi you can activate from the active spot. So it's really not a worry of your opponent Lysandering anything in and stalling for time, because Wishiwashi you can pick up, Rotom's just going to get knocked out, and Unown and Klefki really are just going to get knocked out as well, so your opponent probably won't prioritize them at all. That being said, you still want to get those 2 out of the active spot as quickly as possible early in the game, so that's why you have 2 Escape Rope. 4 Level Ball as the main means of search. Everything can be sought out with Level Ball, and if I could run 6 Level Ball, I could, but I can't, so I'm kind of just going with Nest Ball. Now, it is worth noting you don't get the 2 damage counters with Nest Ball. I did just need another means of searching where I wouldn't have to discard, so I did not go with Ultra Ball, because this deck has so many resources that you kind of want every single one if you're going to have this deck be successful, so the discard from Ultra Ball is a very, very bad drawback. So that's why I'm running Nest Ball. You don't get the 2 damage counters from Magma's Secret Base, but it's nice for being able to search out a Wishiwashi for next turn, or an Unown just for draw support this turn, for Puzzle of Time to reuse things that are in our discard pile, because let's be real, Rotom and our DCEs are going to get discarded quite frequently. Puzzle of Time is a way to recycle them. Speaking of recycling, we also have 1 special charge to put the DCEs back into our deck, 1 Town Map to look at our prizes, because if we have some DCEs prized or a couple Wishiwashi prized, those are crucial to the strategy, so we want to recycle those, or we want to be able to get those as quickly as we can. For Trainers Mail helps with consistency. For VS Seeker lets us reuse all of our supporters. Then as for these supporters, we have a heavier line for 3 of Sycamore and N instead of 4-2, just because there's no Shaman or Octillery, so you want to have draw support as soon as possible when you need it. And also this deck is probably going to be falling behind pretty often, so N is great for that. 1 Lysandre, just because Lysandre is way too good to pass up on. 1 Teammates, because our Rotoms are going to get knocked out frequently, so being able to search out for any 2 cards in our deck is absolutely invaluable. 4 Magma's Secret Base, because those things are also crucial to the strategy. You need to be able to get 2 damage counters on all of your Pokemon whenever you play them down immediately, so that's why we are running the absolute max number of those. 4 Bursting Balloon to help rack up damage, and then 4 DCE, because that is what our attacker relies on. So yeah, that is the deck. It's very fun. It's a budget deck. It's also truly awful, but let's go ahead and see if we can find a couple decent matches with this deck. Alrighty, we have found one against Agonalia, maybe? Agonalia, I don't even know. With a normal and grass deck, and if this is a Tauros Decidueye deck, we just basically lose. We do go first. Why would he let me go first? But either way, I mean, I start off with some stuff. I'm gonna have to get rid of my special charge early in the match, which is something I really don't want to do, although my opponent does start with the Shaman. So I am going to go ahead and play the Town Map. It's great that I get that immediately. I have a Sycamore that I don't want to use. Let's play the Bursting Balloon onto the Wishiwashi, play down the Magma's Secret Base, and then just play down my hand. Ooh, there we go. That's nice. Let's go ahead and play down the Rotom, play down the Klefki, Trainers Mail, see what we can get. Something. And yeah, I'm just going to end my turn right there. If my opponent doesn't damage the Klefki, then, or the Wishiwashi, then I can go ahead and Cowardice back into my hand and play that thing back down. Looks like my opponent is playing a Fomantis deck, or Lurantis GX deck, rather. So it's probably a good thing that I got to go first and play out some items, and I still have a supporter in my hand. That's why I wasn't too worried about playing like a Sycamore or something like that. And oh, that's cool. This is a Lurantis Mega Beedrill deck. I'm gonna have to remember that one. I might try to do something with that. But either way, my opponent is getting damaged at this point, and okay, plays down the Parallel City after taking damage on the beat. I think that was just an incorrect order of operations from my opponent. But either way, I am going to go ahead and play the Eco Arm for the Bursting Balloon, and then I think I don't want to end my opponent because they only have 4 cards, so I am just going to Sycamore. It gets rid of a Puzzle of Time, which is unfortunate, but hopefully it won't come to that. And okay, please give me another Puzzle of Time. I would really like one, and there we go. That is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to be able to recycle my Magma's Secret Base that's in the discard pile, which is really, really nice. So let's go ahead and double puzzle, immediately grab an Unown for sure, and then probably the Magma's Secret Base just so I can play it down. And do I want to grab the Unown? I think instead I want to grab the Trainers Mail to hopefully get another Wishiwashi, because right now I won't be able to knock out the Shaman. And of course, as soon as I start recording again, I get the phone starts ringing in the background. That's ridiculous. Like, why does that happen? I don't understand. I'm gonna go ahead and Trainers Mail, grab an Escape Rope, and then play down a Wishiwashi, let that get damage, play down another Wishiwashi, once again get some more damage out there. And if I could get 2 more Pokemon, I would have been able to knock out the Shaman, but unfortunately I did not. So what I am just going to do is get, do I want to get my last Wishiwashi, or do I want to Unown? I think the play is to go ahead and get my last Wishiwashi into play the DCE onto my Rotom, and then go for a Plasmagic onto the Shaman, set it up to be knocked out next turn. And does Klefki block the effects of attacks? I think it's crap, it's just damage, not effects. So the Mega Beedrill will be able to poison and paralyze me, and that's actually bad for me, because I mean, I would rather just get knocked out by my Rotom so I can attack. And my opponent plays a Max Potion. That is brutal. Although it does end me, so I am completely okay with this. I get a brand new hand. I had a pretty dead hand. I mean, I could have played the Wishiwashis and just gotten 60 damage repeatedly, but oh, that is gorgeous. Oh, that is beautiful. I'm going to be able to search out another Pokemon. I'm going to be able to search out a couple unknowns, be able to get 100 damage on the board instead of just like 60 with the Wishiwashi. So this is very nice right now. I have a very, very good setup. Let's see. My opponent plays down another Beedrill. So this damage that I'm getting from Magma Secret Base is just phenomenal. I mean, I'm just able to start racking up damage as much as I want. What I am going to do is go ahead and Level Ball. I would grab the last Wishiwashi if it was in my deck, but unfortunately it is not. So I'm going to go ahead and Unown. Well, let's see. Let's see. What do I want to do? I think what I want to do, yeah, let's Level Ball instead of Nest Ball for a Rotom. That way I can have... Yeah, let's grab a Rotom. That way I can have a backup attacker. I mean, even though it really doesn't matter, because Wishiwashi, they can even go back into your hand from the active, so that is very nice. I am just going to Cowardice, put all 3 of the Wishiwashi back into my hand, play down, well, first, yeah, let's go ahead and play down all the Wishiwashi. Just might as well do that. I'm probably going to go ahead and Klefki onto my Rotom. I think, well, I'm not going to be able to get a one-hit knockout this turn anyway, so I might as well just go ahead and Plasmagic, get 80 on the board, save the Klefki for when Mega Beedrill gets powered up, because maybe I just read it wrong, but it seems to me like it just blocks damage, not effects, so the poison and paralysis would still happen. But either way, I mean, there's no use wasting damage when you don't need to. My opponent is going to end me. That's honestly just fine. I'll still be able to get a hand of 6. Hopefully it's a hand of 6 that I can use, and get a couple escape ropes. So that works nicely, and I can even Buddy-Buddy Rescue to grab... Oh my gosh, there are 2 DCEs in my prizes. Oh, that's brutal. I should have checked that earlier. Oh boy. This is bad. Oh, crap. So I'm going to be able to get 2 prizes off of like a Shaman or something, but at this point... Oh boy, this is bad. This is very bad. Although my opponent does go into a Shaman, so I will be able to actually get a knockout this turn with Plasmagic because of that 20 damage that my opponent already had on them from the whatchamacallit, from the Magma Secret Base. So Magma Secret Base is just coming through clutch once again. There's a Wishiwashi as well. Ooh, Teammates, that'll be nice. And then I am going to once again, put all the Wishiwashis back into my hand. This deck is very click intensive, but it's really, really cool when you can get it working, and I'm actually able to get it working pretty nicely at this point. Don't get me wrong, this deck's bad. This deck is really bad, but it is so cool to use, and it's really cool to get working because you have 2 cards that you have 2 Pokemon that just are never, ever really going to see the light of day, and you're making them work together to actually do something somewhat decent. So right here, I'm actually going to be able to take a knockout on a Shaman with Plasmagic, heal off all of those, be able to grab a DCE and a Wishiwashi, I think. I'm gonna leave the last, or do I want a Bursting Balloon? I think the Wishiwashi is just the superior play. So I still have 1 DCE in the prizes. I have 1 in my hand, and I wish I had a Bursting Balloon on my Rotom, actually, because then my opponent would have to damage me, and my opponent is just going to end. That's going to hurt a little bit, but I don't know. I feel like I have enough decent stuff to where I can actually work through it. But oh, there we go. That's very nice. Hopefully my opponent... No. Hopefully my opponent didn't get... And he gets the Max Potion too! Jeez, that was a perfect end for my opponent. As long as he doesn't have the Lurantis and an energy. Okay, there's the Lurantis. Does he have an energy? I think if he played it... Oh, he's just going to go for a Chlorocythe, knock out my Rotom, and blah, that was a bad turn. So what I am going to do, go ahead and put my other Rotom active. I need to get a Magma Secret Base off this. However, I do have the Teammates in my hand. That'll be very nice for that. Let's see. I think first thing I'm going to do is Buddy-Buddy Rescue to get back one of my Rotom, because I need to keep attackers going. Like, I just need to have a constant stream of attackers. I'm going to give my opponent back a Shaman when he has an open spot on his bench, so that's really not something I want to do. I'm going to Trainers Mail, see if I can get a Magma Secret Base. I do not. So, I'm going to be able to Teammates for it, so it's not all lost. But I would have liked to have gotten one of the combination off of the whatchamacallit, off of the Unown. So I am going to be able to counter the Stadium, Cowardice, put back all of my Wishiwashi into my hand, and then go for a 100... yeah, I'll be able to get a 100 damage Plasmagic off. And then I think I'm just going to go ahead and Unown. Do I want to? Yep, let's go ahead and Unown. See if we can get another good card. Trainer's Mail, that works. So what I am going to do is go ahead and play down all of my Wishiwashi. Probably play down the... do I want to play down the Klefki or the Rotom? I think... no. I want to play down the... which do I want to do? Screw it, I'm going Klefki. I'm going Klefki just because I can then Rotom next turn and get 20 damage on it to potentially do 120 to the Lurantis after it knocks out my Rotom, which I will need to do in order to be able to KO this Lurantis. So he will get another energy, be able to get 30 damage, and he has the counter Stadium. That sucks. That really, really sucks, because now I'm going to have a DCE, a counter Stadium, and another Pokemon in order to be able to knock out this Lurantis. I mean, I could potentially get one of those, or a way of searching out another Pokemon off of my Trainer's Mail. But either way, I mean, if I can get 6 Pokemon, I'm going to be in an awesome position, because I can just Wishiwashi up for 4 of them. I just need one more Pokemon, and I get a Sycamore. Okay, can I get something? No. Ah, crap. So, I'm either going to have to Sycamore and just pray that I draw into it, or I can Teammates for 2. I can Teammates for 2 of them guaranteed, and then go from there. I mean, I could... it's just up to whether I want to just go for consistency or just go all in. I think, honestly, at this point, I'm just going to Teammates. I wish I had gotten one of my 2 Magma Secret Bases off of that Trainer's Mail, because if I had, I would have been able to knock out this Lurantis. And I need 3 pieces. I don't need just 2. I need 3 pieces. That Trainer's Mail was my shot. I just whiffed on it, and I'm going to play the Magma Secret Base. Go ahead, play down the Rotom. Just get 100 and set the Lurantis up to get knocked out again. 'Cause, I mean, I'm still ahead on the prize trade, actually. Oddly enough, I'm ahead on the prize trade. Unfortunately, I did not get the Pokemon that I needed. I literally just needed one more to be able to knock out this Lurantis. I did not get it, so that is very, very unfortunate right there. I am just going to Wishiwashi, put all 4 of them back into my hand, and be able to move 100 damage onto this Lurantis, set it up for the KO next turn, and yeah, so that's just what we're going to do. Very unfortunate that I was not able to draw into a way to get another Pokemon, but I mean, that does happen. That does happen with this deck. I mean, it's, like I said, it's not a very good deck. It is literally just a, you know what, here's some crappy cards, let's see if they can be a little less crappy altogether. But either way, I mean, wait. Boy. Guys, I screwed up. I screwed up big time. That was my last DCE. I kind of forgot that I had 2 prizes at the beginning of the game instead of 1. My opponent is going to be able to take another prize, and yeah, I had having to discard that special charge early in the game just came back to bite me so hard. I mean, I wish I would have been able to save that, but I don't know, hindsight 2020, I really wish I would have saved it, and I would have ended and given my opponent a fresh hand, but at this point, there's absolutely nothing I could do. If I had another Rotom, actually, if I had another DCE, I think I'd be fine, because I'd be able to knock out the Lurantis, and my opponent had actually nothing powered up at all, so I think I would have actually been in a decent spot had that last DCE not been prized, but oh well, it happens. I mean, this deck actually went toe-to-toe with a pretty solid deck, in my opinion. I think Lurantis and Mega Beedrill is a very solid deck, but this deck was still able to go toe-to-toe with it. Unfortunately, just ran out of resources, but I'm not ending on a loss. I'm going to try to find a win with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against Nysahiri, I guess, with a Water and Lightning deck, so there are no Shamans, so it might be a matchup of budget decks, which would be really, really, really cool for us. And we do start off with, oh boy, I'm going to have to get rid of both my Escape Ropes and my Eco Arm turn 1, which is really, really not what you want to do. You kind of want to hold on to the, actually, you know what? I guess the Escape Ropes are really only for getting the Unown and Klefki out of the active spot, because if your opponent does play down like a, I guess if your opponent plays, I mean, if your Rotom gets knocked out, you can promote a Wishiwashi and just throw it right back into your hand. So, I mean, it turned out okay. I still don't like the fact that I have to get rid of my 2 Escape Ropes and my Eco Arm turn 1, but you know what? It's okay. We do get a Klefki. Do I want to play that down? That's the question. I think I'm just going to go ahead and, yeah, let's go ahead and play it down, because, I mean, all I need is 3 Pokemon and the Magma Secret Base to knock out my opponent's Magnemite, which I do get. That is really nice. So I can go ahead and Level Ball for a Wishiwashi, start getting this setup going. I can see if I can get another Wishiwashi. I do not. However, I do get the Magma Secret Base, which I'm going to grab in case my opponent manages to counter my Stadium. I'm going to play down the Wishiwashi, play down the Unown, and play down the Klefki. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a turn 1 knockout with Plasmagic. That is how we roll. That was actually really, really awesome. Let's see what I get off the prizes. I get another Unown, so I will be able to get some more damage on the board. If my opponent counter... Ooh. So my opponent has to Fisherman as his supporter. So my opponent must just have a whole lot of nothing. I am not going to end, because that would give my opponent a fresh hand. What I am going to do, I think, is... okay, so it's just damage counters as opposed to damage. I was just checking that to see if Lightning Body would affect that. And I am... Okay, let's Puzzle of Time, see what we can get. We get a... Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and Town Map. Put the Town Map on top of my deck. Go ahead and be able to look at my prizes. And then I can potentially Unown for next turn. Let's see what's in my prizes. Okay, just a couple Sycamores and a Level Ball and a Buddy-Buddy Rescue. And then I am just going to go ahead and Klefki, because why the heck not? Put it onto my other Klefki. Those guys are pretty much useless to me at this point. Let's play down my Wishiwashi. And you know what? Screw it. I'm going to end, see if I can get even more damage on the board. I mean, it gives my opponent a fresh hand, and I know I literally just said I didn't want to do that, but screw it. When do I ever actually follow through with what I say? Let's Acro Bike, grab a Level Ball to get another Wishiwashi, and it was a matter of, do I go for an incredibly optimal setup and give my opponent a fresh hand, or do I go just kind of banking on my opponent not being able to get much? And I am going to get 3 Wishiwashi into play by turn 2. That is amazing. Be able to hit this Raikou for 80 damage, set it up to be knocked out if it attacks into a Bursting Balloon. I am just going to Klefki again, open that spot up, discard that Klefki, put that onto my Rotom, and then, I mean, I really didn't need to Bursting Balloon. I just went ahead and did it because my opponent was in no position to knock me out this turn, so I decided to save the Bursting Balloon. I mean, that's all I would have needed, and my opponent Lucky Helmets up the Raikou. That's actually not going to help him because I place damage counters. I don't damage Raikou. This deck actually does 0 damage, as you saw last game. Like, officially, there are no attacks being... Well, like, there's no damage necessarily being done. There is damage counters being moved. And that is what this deck does. I am going to Trainers Mail, see what I can get. Ooh, I can get another Wishiwashi into play. I mean, I'll be able to knock out my opponent's Raikou regardless with my 3 Wishiwashi that I already have. But you know what? I actually think I'm going to Unown for now, just because I can draw into something. Let's go ahead and Cowardice. Put the 3 Wishiwashi back into my hand. I'm like I said, I'm going to be able to knock out this Raikou with only a couple anyway. With only a couple of damage counters anyway, which I have in my 3 Wishiwashi. So I might as well play down my unknowns. That way I can get the draw support when I need it. And then let's go ahead and Plasmagic, knock out this Raikou, and yeah, my Rotom has a Fighting Fury Belt on it. I am going to grab a Level Ball off of my prizes to be able to search that last Wishiwashi. And yeah, so in a phenomenal position. My opponent has absolutely nothing. They play a Birch's Observations, so yeah, I mean, I think that kind of speaks to the experience of my opponent a little bit, just because you don't play Birch's Observations unless you have a... you don't play Birch's Observations when you have access to N. You never play Birch's Observations. In fact, people played Judge more than they played Birch's Observations. However, my opponent will be able to get Noctillery, which will give him a fresh hand of 5 that is honestly completely fine with me. I still will be able to search out another Wishiwashi, get 80 damage on the board every single turn because of Cowardice, and my deck is finally working beautifully, and I'm not up against a really powerful deck that's just going to absolutely run through me. So that's a very nice thing as well. My opponent is running Lucky Helmet as draw support, I guess. But alright, I am going to go ahead and actually hold off on the Farewell Letter. I'm going to first Level Ball for the Wishiwashi, that way I don't Farewell Letter into it. I'm going to Trainers Mail, see if I can get anything good. Ooh, I get a Lysandre. That is very nice. Oh, I'm actually going to be able to knock out this Octillery. That is gorgeous. And then I'm going to Farewell Letter once and maybe twice. I'm not sure if I'm going to Farewell Letter twice. I did just want to Farewell Letter to go ahead and have the bench space for that last Wishiwashi. And there we go. We have a 4 Wishiwashi setup. Being able to Cowardice, just put them all back into my hand, play the Bursting Balloon onto my Rotom in case my opponent manages to pull off an attack next turn. And would you look at that, we are going to be able to knock out my opponent's Octillery, kill their draw support, and yep, this is the setup, ladies and gentlemen. Just Wishiwashi every single turn, put 80 to 100 damage each turn, and then Bursting Balloon to deter my opponent from attacking into my Rotom, because that will be just more damage counters that gets put on their Pokemon and just more damage done to them. My opponent is going to evolve into a Raichu Break and then go for a Birch's Observations. I guess this must be a Raichu Magnum Zone deck with Raikou thrown in. I mean, it's like a solid budget idea. I just think my opponent needs a little bit of help with building overall. At this point, I think I could take another prize, actually. I could Lysandre in the Pikachu and just take a prize on it. However, the Raichu is the only thing with energy on the field, so I think I am just going to go ahead and start trying to take that thing out. Get a Puzzle of Time. That's pretty nice. Maybe I can get another one. Let's play down all 4 of our Wishiwashi. Just once again, get that set up. Just keep damaging my own Pokemon, because who cares? Raichu Break only has 130. Pikachu has 60. I could take the knockout on it. But you know what? I think I'm just going to go for the 100 damage. Be able to put that onto the Raichu Break, because the Raichus I should be able to knock out with just 100 damage anyway, with 5 Pokemon with a Magma Seeker base. So I think I'm just going to hold off on that for now. Set my opponent's Raichu Break to be knocked out next turn, and hold off on my Lysandre in case my opponent plays down another Magnemite or a Remoraid or something that could potentially be a problem. Because at this point, the Raikou is not a threat at all. My opponent, Lysandre's up Wishiwashi. I guess he doesn't realize that Cowardice works from the active spot. So that's exactly why I'm okay with going ahead and promoting Wishiwashi. Just because, I mean, Cowardice works from wherever you put it on the field. Just be sure not to Cowardice when you have only Wishiwashi on the field, because then you will just make yourself lose the game, and nobody likes that. But we are able to win a game with Rotom Wishiwashi. I am ending on that I am ending on that note. There is no way I'm going to be able to top that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this really awful but really awesome deck using 2 Pokemon that you never see at all. Huge shout outs to the guy who came up with this idea. Bro, you are a true innovator. But anyway, that is the deck, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.